Hi everybody, welcome to School of Scarlett. Today I have another message for you. So today's message is really a warning to stop playing it small. You're much bigger than that, and you know that. You have something big within you. You are more than what you've been showing the world. And so today's message is for you. So maybe you've been playing it small in ways where you're not speaking up, or maybe you're not, saying what you need for yourself. People ask, are you okay? And you just say, I'm fine. And every time you do that, it really kind of hurts your nervous system, shrinks you in a way. Is there maybe a dream within you that you haven't really shared with the world, or you're scared to share with the world because you think it's too much, or you think other people will make fun of it, or you're just holding it back in some way because your experience of life has taught you not to share? Maybe it was a parent, maybe it was a teacher, or something in your life where you shared something, or you spoke up, or you did something and you weren't heard. And now what you have is like this fear of being seen. If you have this fear of being seen, you're being called for more. You have greatness within you, and there is no doubt about that. Maybe a parent or a caregiver or your teacher or someone said you had too much emotions, or maybe you were that talkative kid in class and you were told that you were talking too much, and now as you've gotten older you suppress some of that, you hide some of that because you don't want to be too much. And so you're being called to go back to being your authentic self, whatever that truly was. We're programmed in a way to conform, to be easy to handle. But the truth is, you are more than you think. You're wild. You're full of life. You're full of wonder. You're full of magic. And that's truly who you are. So within us is a spirit of joy, a spirit of love, and it needs to be released. So you're being called today to really look within. What is that part of you that you've been suppressing, that you've been hiding? What can you do to start allowing yourself to feel more into that, to share that more with the world without having to apologize, without having to hide that aspect of yourself? So I'm asking today for you to really reflect, not just watch this video, but truly apply it to your life. I know that for my life, I've oftentimes been a person that didn't speak up. For much of my life when I was in school, you could call me selective mutism, because I didn't speak at school. I didn't speak up. I didn't answer questions. I didn't share how I was feeling. If someone asked me how I felt, I usually did say I was just fine. And so that was something that I had to start to, get back into when I was older. But as far as my younger years, I was really in a state of not really feeling safe to share. And oftentimes our fear of being seen comes to the aspects that we feel unsafe in some way, that there's some sort of unsafety, that we're going to be teased, that we're going to be made fun of, not understood, ostracized, or left out in some way. And because of that, we kind of conform, or we decide to stay quiet because that's safer than saying or speaking up. So I know that, within the Bible, there are so many stories of people that have, great gifts within them, and God sees that within them and wants to bring that forward, but the person is scared. And so one of those examples is Moses. He really felt like he couldn't speak, that he couldn't be that great speaker, he couldn't be that leader, and God said, you are the one. And where he couldn't see it, God could see it. And so within you, I can already tell you, there's already that greatness within you. The greatness that God sees is already there. We can all see it, but you need to connect with it, and you need to allow yourself to explore it and be seen in that way. So one of the things that, similar to the story of Moses, is that there's a big church here in Houston. It's called the Lakewood Church. You may have heard of it, with Joel Osteen. And, whatever your opinions are on the church or the pastor, Joel Osteen, is really irrelevant to what I'm about to share. But I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions. That's why I say that. But before he had Lakewood Church, he was the son of the pastor of Lakewood Church. And before the original pastor passed away, he was the son, and he was the son who was in the background. He was doing like the technical, the lights, all of that stuff. And, he wasn't going to be the next pastor of that church because he couldn't speak clearly. He had stuttering. He had kind of this uncertainty in his voice. And so he couldn't speak. He really literally couldn't speak. When they'd put him up there to speak, he would jumble all his words. And so he was just not the one. And when his father did pass away and they were looking for someone to take that role, it came that, he was the one that was chosen, but he couldn't, and he didn't see himself as the person being capable of doing it. But, he went with God, and God said, you can do this. And so he got up there and he began to speak, and it wasn't, so smooth at first. But over time, with more trusting himself, with more allowing himself to be seen, he could speak clearer and clearer, and he could really share the messages of God without all of that fumbling that he was doing before. And if you watch him now, which he's, on TV, you can find him on YouTube and all of that stuff, you would never know that he had a problem speaking, that he had a problem being seen, that he had a problem with his confidence. But look at him now. He's, one of the main TV evangelist pastors in our day and age. I can also tell you from actual experience, I did attend, Lakewood Church a couple times, but I never did see him in the state of fumbling his words and all of that stuff. But he often told that story. One of the churches that I attended, there was the pastor, and he had some daughters, and in the church that I was attending, it was more traditional for the man to become the pastor. But unfortunately, the pastor didn't have any sons. He had daughters. And so the daughters oftentimes would speak, and they could speak very well, and they would get up on stage and speak and all of that, but they weren't going to be the next pastor due to some of the beliefs of this particular church. And the husband of one of the main daughters, the main speakers that would oftentimes speak, she was married to someone who really could not speak. Almost every time he got on stage, he would literally stutter, he would fumble his words. They would oftentimes put him up there to say a prayer. And when he would say a prayer, he would really mess it up, to be honest with you. He would say things that were, either not true by accident. He would put in words that were just inappropriate by accident. And these embarrassing things would often happen in front of the whole congregation. And then it came to be that the pastor got of a certain age, and he really couldn't pastor the church anymore. So he stepped down, and he allowed his daughter to take the role of being the pastor, and she was the pastor. But now, a couple years later, she encouraged her husband to be seen, to get up there, and he began to do that more and more, not just with the prayers, but with preaching like on Wednesdays and things like that. And now he is currently the actual pastor of the church. And if you were to come into this church and watch him speak, you would never think it was the same person. You would never think that he could do what he is doing now. So don't have any doubt in yourself. Whatever is within you is being developed within you. It's happening in a way where you don't see it right now, but everything that you need is already within you. Just like in a seed, everything is within that seed that it needs to grow. Yes, in the beginning, it'll only sprout like a little green sprout. But over time, it'll grow, and it'll become a trunk of a tree, and then it'll have branches and leaves, and it'll grow bigger and bigger. So what you see now is not evidence of the whole completed product that you will be. So whatever you think that you're lacking, just know that you're already equipped within you. You aren't lacking anything. You have the greatness of God, and within you at every moment, you have that power walking with you. So you are not alone in anything. Have no fear. Go ahead and allow yourself to be seen. Allow yourself to be heard in small ways today. Take those steps to do that. If we don't allow a seed to grow, if the seed just stays small, and every time it grows a little sprout, we take it off, or we just don't allow that seed to show itself, it will wither away. It will essentially wither away. And that's the same way with us. Every time that we deny ourselves something that our true self wants, or we make ourselves small or shrink ourselves in different situations to make others feel comfortable, we begin to wither and become smaller and smaller and smaller until we truly are like that withered seed. We're not producing anymore. We're in this state of shrunken kind of smallness. And that's not who you're meant to be. You're meant to be someone great. You're meant to spread your light. You're meant to spread your love with the world in whatever ways are within your heart. So I hope that this message resonated with you, that you will actually take some of what I said today and apply it to your life. Examine yourself and see where you're shrinking, where you're keeping yourself small, and allow yourself to uncage yourself in that sense. If we locked up a lion in a bird's cage, it couldn't be the great lion that it's meant to be. And so that is how you are. If you find yourself in the wrong place, living the life that you didn't want to live, or being around people or situations or jobs that, shrink you or make you feel this way, it's time to break through that cage and to be your true authentic self and express yourself fully and safely, because you are allowed to be seen and your greatness is within you. So I hope that this message found you well. If it did resonate with you, please leave me a like down below. I really appreciate it. Comment down below how it resonated with you, and I would love to hear your comments. I love to get all of your comments, and I love to respond to them as well. So please leave something down below. If you would like to connect further for a one-on-one session or any of my course offerings, you can check that out in my description. I love you all, and I will catch you on our next message.